Ollie, can you please turn off the light downstairs? I remember being a kid and hearing these words. I dreaded them. It was my job in the family to turn the lights off downstairs. To be the one that welcomes darkness into a familiar space. To have it chase me up the stairs. Darkness cannot chase, but that's what it felt like. I remember being relieved when I arrived at my room. I felt like I had won a race. One that you needed to win. I felt safe in my room. The constant reassurance of the lights telling my eyes there's no danger nearby. The lack of shadows to hide in. The doors and walls keeping me safe. But I really shouldn't have felt safe at all. You wonder why you only see these monsters in the dark, why you only become aware of them in the dark. I have learned that in the same way we hide in the shadows, the light is their shadow to hide in, to wait. And one day, it stopped waiting. I grew up in a two-story house with my sister and my parents, your typical American family home. There was nothing particularly special about the house or the area. We were a niche neighborhood, and we knew everyone in it. Everyone was so friendly, you felt safe enough not to lock your doors that night. Then things changed. Subtly at first. In hindsight, these were warnings that I now try to tell you. It started with small noises. A constant scratching of my bedroom window, I told myself was just the nearby tree. The continuous, almost rhythmic creaks of the attic floor above. A random rattle of the closet doors. These noises felt far away and never really interfered with normal life. It continued for about 3 months before it started to become more than just noise. First, leaky faucets. The house now had a permanent stench of offness. Then doors opening on their own, even locked ones. A blanket of sorrow seemed to engulf what was once my happy family, and for no apparent reason either. The sounds had also gotten closer. At this point, the creaks now originated from right beside my bed. The scratching on the window got louder, and one day I noticed visible scratch marks. They'd come from the inside. My parents were not superstitious. They believed that everything had a logical and rational explanation. When I told them about all of this, they had disregarded it as my imagination. Ollie, can you please turn off the lights downstairs? This was the night it stopped waiting, and I remember it vividly. That night, I headed towards the lights and braced myself to sprint before I flicked the switch. Ready, set, flick. I dashed up the stairs, straight to my room, with the familiar relieved feeling of having won the race again. I settled in to relax on my bed, to read a comic or two before falling asleep. Ollie, please, can you turn off the light downstairs? You'll rack up the bill. Mom, I just turned them off. Sophie probably went downstairs or something. Ollie, Sophie's in our room. I know you're scared of the dark, but please don't lie to me. Now do your job, please. I reluctantly opened the door to my safe haven and headed toward the light switch downstairs again. I figured it was just an electricity issue. Ready, set, flick. I dashed up the stairs again, but before I could close the door to my room, I heard a familiar click downstairs. The lights were on again, but so was the kitchen faucet. Dad, there's someone downstairs! I usually called for my dad whenever I was afraid. He always showed me there was nothing to be afraid of. I remember him coming out of his room a bit annoyed as I had interrupted his work, but he put a comfort face on as soon as he realized I was scared. It's alright, Ollie. Look, no one's downstairs. I'll check it for you. I watched him go downstairs, then out of sight as he went to investigate. I waited for what seemed like forever, just staring at the stairs, waiting for my dad to say everything was alright. Then the faucet turned off, and he had arrived at the light switch placed so conveniently near the base of the stairs. Nothing here, Ollie. Someone just forgot to turn off the kitchen tap. He turned off the lights and walked upstairs to comfort me. Relief was overwhelming. Click. The buzz of light seemed to have gotten louder, as if to mock how futile our attempts were at turning them off. Wait here, Ollie. I need to check the electrical board. I watched my dad go down the steps again, each foot making that familiar thump on the stairs. Then my dad stopped midway. His head turned to look at me, and he was looking at me funny. I remember his face vividly. It was a mixture of shock and intense sorrow. His body was still facing the base of the stairs. His neck was facing the wrong way. and just like that, he was dead. The following thumps of his body falling are still etched into my mind. "Ollie, is everything alright?" My mother was once a bright and bubbly person. The moment she stepped out and saw my dad is when the light in her extinguished. Her screams were cut short by the lights downstairs. They had switched back off. This revealed the darkness that had done this to Dad. It was just vaguely humanoid, only a silhouette, and walking up the stairs. Their walk was almost in an awkward slow motion, as if it knew it'd get me eventually, and I somehow knew there was no escaping it. My mother had other plans. She snatched me into her room, hid Sophie and I in the bathtub, and called the police. My father's cause of death was officially labeled as a stairway accident. It was the most obvious answer after all. 12,000 people die of stairway accidents a year. This was all 31 years ago, and I'm now 45. My mother, my sister, they were both killed in a similar fashion. My mother's was a bathtub slip. My sister was a bed fall. But I knew better. I have survived this long because I've learned that the creatures cannot hurt you in the dark. Similar to how you cannot see them in the light, they cannot see you in the dark. Which is why I have lived the past 25 years in darkness, living with the sight of these creatures in exchange for their sight of me. As long as you are dead silent, you will live to see another day. I write this because I'm tired of living in the dark. I write this to warn you of my story, to look out for the signs that you or your family have been marked. The signs that they have gotten tired of waiting. I will turn on my lights now.